Commander Alex Reed rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the blinking console before him. The Defiant had been drifting in this uncharted sector for 3 weeks now, and the crew was getting restless. Space exploration was always a gamble. Sometimes you found something amazing, and sometimes you just found more empty space. "Commander, I'm picking up something strange," said Tom, the communications officer. His fingers danced across the control panel as he adjusted frequencies. "It's not on any standard channels we monitor." Reed moved to Tom's station. "What kind of signal?" "It's encrypted, but doesn't match any Earth protocols. Definitely not human." Reed's heartbeat quickened. First contact was always a possibility, but in his 15 years of deep space missions, he'd never encountered actual alien transmissions. "Can you clean it up?" "Working on it, sir." Tom's brow furrowed in concentration. "It's strange. The encryption is advanced, but there's something familiar about the pattern." The bridge fell silent as Tom worked. The only sounds were the gentle hum of the ship's engines and the occasional beep from the navigation console. "Got it," Tom exclaimed after several minutes. "Patching it through to the main screen now." The large view screen at the front of the bridge flickered to life. Strange symbols scrolled across it, gradually shifting into recognizable text as the ship's translation matrix processed the information. Reed leaned forward, his eyes widening as he read the translated message. "Containment Protocol 7 to 12. Human expansion reaching critical threshold. Recommend immediate implementation of technology suppression measure Delta. Subject species showing concerning advancement rates in quantum computing. Agent placement in key research facilities has been authorized." "What the hell?" Reed muttered. "Tom, is this some kind of joke?" Tom shook his head, looking equally confused. "No, sir. This is a genuine transmission. It's being broadcast from somewhere in this sector." "Keep recording," Reed ordered, "and see if you can trace it." As Tom worked to locate the source, more messages appeared on screen. Council Directive. All observers on Earth must maintain cover. Recent discovery of alien microstructures in Antarctic ice poses security risk. Memory alteration teams dispatched to research base. Reminder: Earth remains classified as a Level 3 containment world. Their war potential exceeds safe parameters, but genetic harvesting operations continue to yield valuable results. Reed felt a cold anger building inside him. If these messages were real, then everything humanity thought about their place in the universe was a lie. They weren't alone, and worse, they were being watched, manipulated, and harvested. "Sir, I've triangulated the source," Tom announced. "It appears to be coming from a hidden relay station about 2 light hours from our position. Plot a course, maximum speed," Reed ordered, "and download all these transmissions. Back them up on isolated servers." The Defiant's engines roared to life as the ship changed course toward the source of the mysterious signals. Reed called an emergency meeting of his senior officers in the ship's conference room. "What we've discovered may change everything," Reed told the gathered officers as the messages scrolled on the display. "If these are legitimate, then Earth has been under observation and manipulation by an organization called the Council for who knows how long." Dr. Lisa Hayes, the ship's science officer, studied the data with a frown. "The technology they're describing, some of it is decades beyond what we currently have. But the references to quantum computing breakthroughs, those are real projects back on Earth. Projects that mysteriously hit roadblocks or lost funding," added Security Chief Mike Davis. "My brother works in quantum research. He's always complained about promising projects getting shut down for no good reason." Reed nodded grimly. "We need to get this information back to Earth immediately." When they tried to send their findings through the Defiant's quantum communication array, however, they encountered only static. "Something's jamming us," Tom reported, his face pale. "All channels, even the emergency frequencies." Reed was about to order another attempt when the ship's proximity alarms blared. "Unidentified vessel approaching at high speed," called out Emma, the sensor operator. "It's massive, sir," at least 20 times our size. On the view screen, a huge ship appeared, unlike anything they had ever seen. It had a sleek, metallic design with strange glowing patterns along its hull. "We're being hailed," Tom said. Reed straightened his uniform. "Put it through." The screen changed to show a humanoid figure with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. Its features were almost human, yet distinctly alien. "This is Overseer Gann of the Galactic Council Enforcement Division. You have intercepted restricted communications. Power down your vessel and prepare to be boarded. Your memories will be adjusted, and you will be returned to your designated space." Reed felt his hands clench into fists. "This is Commander Alexander Reed of the Earth vessel Defiant. We are on a peaceful exploration mission in free space. We do not recognize your authority to board our ship." The alien's expression didn't change. "Your species is under Council protection and observation. You have strayed beyond your permitted exploration zone. Compliance is not optional." Reed cut the transmission with a gesture and turned to his crew. "Battle stations. I'm not letting them take this ship or the information we've discovered." The Defiant was an exploration vessel, not a warship, but it was equipped with basic defensive capabilities. As the massive Council ship approached, Reed knew they couldn't win in a direct fight. "Sir, they're powering up what appear to be tractor beams," Emma reported. Reed's mind raced. There was one option. Risky, but possibly their only chance. "Prepare the experimental jump drive." Chief Engineer Wilson looked alarmed. "Sir, that's only for emergency use. It hasn't been fully tested. If these aliens board us and erase our memories, Earth will never know what's happening to them," Reed said firmly. "This qualifies as an emergency." As the alien ship extended its energy beams toward the Defiant, Reed gave the order. "Jump now." The experimental drive engaged with a tremendous surge of energy. The stars on the view screen stretched into lines, and a blinding flash engulfed the bridge. The ship shuddered violently, throwing crew members against consoles and walls. When the chaos subsided, the alien vessel was gone. So were the familiar stars of the sector they had been exploring. "Where are we?" Reed asked, picking himself up from the floor. Emma checked the navigation system, her face showing surprise. "Sir, we're back in Earth's solar system, just beyond Mars' orbit." Reed looked at the data they had gathered, proof of humanity's manipulation by forces beyond their stars. His jaw tightened with resolve. "Set course for Earth," he ordered. "It's time our people learned the truth." The Defiant turned toward the blue planet that hung in the distance, carrying a secret that would forever change humanity's understanding of their place in the cosmos, and ignite a rage that had been building, unknown and suppressed, for centuries. The Defiant limped into Earth's orbit, battle-scared but intact. Commander Reed looked through the viewport at the blue planet below. How peaceful it seemed, a world unaware it had been caged for centuries. "All senior officers, prepare your reports," Reed ordered. "We need everything documented before we make contact with headquarters." Reed knew the information they carried would change humanity forever. The evidence was explosive. Records of alien manipulation, secret agents placed in human institutions, and hidden technology suppression. When the Defiant docked at the orbital station, Admiral Marcus was waiting. The Admiral was a tall, stern man with gray hair and a reputation for being hard to impress. His face showed a mix of relief and irritation. "Commander Reed," he said as Reed stepped off the ship, "your mission wasn't scheduled to return for another 3 months, and you missed your last 2 check-ins." "Sir, we need to talk privately," Reed replied. "What we found out there, it changes everything." Admiral Marcus raised an eyebrow, but led Reed to a secure conference room. As the door sealed shut, Reed connected a data drive to the display system. "This better be good, Commander. I've got the Defense Council breathing down my neck about your unscheduled return." Reed played the intercepted transmissions. For the next 30 minutes, Admiral Marcus sat in silence, his expression growing darker with each new piece of evidence. "This is If this is real, Marcus finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. It's real, sir. We traced the signals. We encountered one of their ships. They tried to capture us and erase our memories. Marcus stood up and paced the room. Do you understand what you're saying? That Earth has been under alien control. That our entire history might be manipulated. Not our entire history, Reed clarified, but our technological development, our expansion into space, our understanding of our place in the universe. Yes. Marcus activated his secure communicator. This is Admiral Marcus. Get Dr. Ellis up here immediately. Top priority. Dr. Jane Ellis was Earth's leading expert in xenolinguistics and cryptography. She arrived 20 minutes later, a small woman with intense eyes and a brilliant mind. This better be important, she said. I was in the middle of. She stopped when she saw the data on the screens. What is this? That's what we need you to tell us, Marcus replied. For the next 3 days, Dr. Ellis worked tirelessly to decode more of the transmissions the Defiant had intercepted. Reed and his crew were placed under a communications blackout, officially for routine debriefing. On the 4th day, Ellis called Reed and Marcus to her lab. Her face was pale, and dark circles had formed under her eyes. It's worse than we thought, she said without preamble. These transmissions go back centuries. I've cross-referenced them with historical records. She displayed a timeline on the main screen. See these points. Major scientific breakthroughs in human history, and see these corresponding council communications. Each time humanity made a significant leap forward, there was a council intervention. What kind of intervention? Reed asked, although he feared he already knew the answer. Sabotage, assassination of key scientists, engineered accidents, memory manipulation, even wars to distract and destroy research facilities. Ellis's voice shook slightly. How many millions have died because of their interference? Admiral Marcus slammed his fist on the table. Why? Why hold us back? Ellis pointed to another set of decoded messages. Fear. They're afraid of us. Human advancement rates are exceptional by galactic standards. They call us dangerously adaptive. Our capacity for innovation terrifies them. Reed wasn't surprised. Humanity had always prided itself on its ability to overcome challenges, to adapt and survive against all odds. There's more, Ellis continued. The Council doesn't just watch us. They harvest from us. Harvest what? Marcus demanded. Genetic material, creative ideas, even our soldiers. Ellis displayed another file. Humans who disappear. Some are taken for study. Others are used as fighters in the Council's wars. The three sat in stunned silence, the weight of the revelation heavy in the air. We need to inform the world government, Marcus finally said. Not yet, Ellis cautioned. According to these files, the Council has agents in every major power structure on Earth. We don't know who to trust. As if to confirm her warning, an alert sounded on Marcus's communicator. The Galactic Relations Department is sending a diplomatic delegation to meet with us. They say it's urgent. Reed felt a chill. The Council is already moving to contain this. How could they know? Marcus wondered. Ellis closed the files. Like I said, they have people everywhere. 2 hours later, a sleek diplomatic shuttle docked at the station. From it emerged Trell, a humanoid alien with silvery skin and a disarming smile. He was introduced as a cultural exchange officer from the Galactic Alliance, an organization Reed now knew was just a front for the Council. Admiral Marcus, Commander Reed. Trell greeted them warmly. I understand there's been some confusion regarding certain communications your vessel intercepted. Marcus kept his face neutral. No confusion, just some interesting discoveries we're analyzing. Trell's smile never wavered. I'm sure it's all a misunderstanding. Those transmissions were likely routine administrative communications that, when taken out of context, might seem concerning. We'd be happy to hear your explanation, Reed said carefully. Of course. But first, may I see exactly what you intercepted, so I can provide the proper context? Ellis, who had been observing silently, stepped forward. Our systems are currently processing the data. It's not available for sharing yet. Something flashed in Trell's eyes. Frustration, perhaps anger, but it was gone in an instant. I understand. Perhaps I could speak with your crew then, to better understand what they believe they encountered. They're in mandatory quarantine. Marcus lied smoothly. Standard procedure after unexplored space missions. As they spoke, Ellis's tablet quietly beeped. She glanced down at it and then gave Reed a meaningful look. She had been running a scan on Trell. Would you excuse us for a moment? Reed said politely. Station protocol requires us to check in hourly during diplomatic meetings. Once they were out of earshot, Ellis showed them the scan results. He's transmitting everything we say to an outside source, and I'm detecting advanced technology designed to access our computer systems. He's not here to explain, Marcus realized. He's here to erase the evidence and neutralize anyone who's seen it. Reed nodded grimly. Then we need to move first. They returned to find Trell examining a wall console, his fingers moving in strange patterns over the surface. I hope you don't mind, he said smoothly. I was admiring your technology. So, primitive, yet charming. We like it, Reed replied. Simple, but effective, like our security measures. On his signal, security officers entered the room. What is this? Trell demanded. Diplomat Trell, you're being detained pending investigation of espionage against Earth, Marcus announced formally. Trell's face hardened. This is a serious diplomatic mistake. The consequences will be addressed later, Reed interrupted. Right now, we have questions that need answers. As Trell was led away, Ellis turned to Reed and Marcus. We've just declared ourselves against the Council. They won't take this lightly. No, Reed agreed. But humanity has been kept in the dark long enough. It's time to bring everything into the light. And let the rage that follows change the galaxy. They've cut off all communication with our outposts beyond Mars, Admiral Marcus announced, looking up from his tablet. 1 week had passed since they detained Trell, and the situation was escalating quickly. Commander Reed, Dr. Ellis, and Admiral Marcus had converted an old military bunker 200 feet below the Rocky Mountains into their temporary headquarters. The room was filled with screens displaying data from the Defiance mission and information extracted from Trell's devices. That confirms it, Ellis said. Trell managed to send a message before we caught him. Reed studied the star map projected on the central table. We need to assume the Council knows exactly what we discovered. They'll be preparing to contain the situation. Contain us, you mean? Marcus corrected grimly. I've been reviewing the personnel files you flagged, Ellis. The patterns are disturbing. Ellis nodded. She had developed an algorithm to identify potential Council agents by analyzing career trajectories, decision patterns, and communications. The results had been shocking. At least 15% of Earth's leadership positions show signs of Council influence, she explained. Some may be actual aliens with altered appearances. Others are likely humans who've been compromised, either willingly or through manipulation. Reed pointed to several highlighted locations on the global map. The world president's chief advisor, 3 Supreme Court justices, the heads of the largest tech companies, even the director of space defense. People we thought were driving humanity forward were actually holding us back, Marcus said bitterly. Reed straightened his shoulders. Then we build our own network, people we can trust, people who will fight when they learn the truth. And so Terran Truth was born, a resistance movement dedicated to exposing the Council's manipulation and freeing humanity from alien control. Their first recruits were carefully selected, Captain Laura West, whose deep space mission had encountered strange anomalies near Neptune. Professor James Tucker, who had been ridiculed for his theories about suppressed technology. General Anna Diaz, who had lost her research team in a suspicious accident, after discovering unusual materials in a meteorite. Each new member brought skills and connections. Each was thoroughly vetted and shown the evidence. Each reacted first with disbelief, then anger, and finally resolve. Within a month, Terran Truth had cells operating on every continent and in all major space installations. They moved carefully, gathering information, identifying Council agents, and preparing for the moment when they would take action. One discovery proved particularly valuable. Professor Tucker, analyzing the data from the Defiant, identified a pattern in Council communications that suggested a hidden outpost on Mars. "It's in the Valles Marineris Canyon system," he explained, pointing to a deep gash on the Martian surface. All these transmissions route through there before heading to the outer system. Reed immediately saw the strategic importance. If we could capture that outpost intact, we could access their full communications network, Ellis finished excitedly. The mission was planned with meticulous care. Reed would lead a small team under the cover of a routine supply run to the Mars research stations. General Diaz arranged for loyal soldiers to be transferred to the security detail. Ellis prepared special equipment to breach Council systems. The Mars operation launched 2 weeks later. Reed's team approached the hidden facility during a dust storm that helped mask their movements. The outpost was disguised as a natural formation, but Tucker's instruments detected the energy signatures pulsing beneath the rocky surface. "Remember, we need their systems intact," Reed reminded the team as they prepared to breach the entrance. "Stun weapons only." The infiltration went smoothly at first. The Council had grown complacent after centuries of unopposed control. The few guards were quickly neutralized, and Ellis gained access to their central computer. But as they delved deeper into the facility, Reed's team made a discovery that left them horrified. "These aren't just communication relays," Ellis whispered, staring at the rows of tanks lining the walls of a massive underground chamber. Each tank contained a floating human form, connected to complex machinery. "What is this?" Reed asked, his voice tight with anger. Ellis studied the nearby console. "According to this, they're extractors. These people are being used to harvest something called combat instinct patterns and creative problem-solving matrices. They're stealing the very things that make us human," General Diaz said, disgust evident in her voice. Reed moved closer to one of the tanks. The man inside appeared to be in his 30s. A small display showed he had been there for over 7 years. "Can we free them?" Reed asked. Ellis studied the controls. "Not immediately. The system is designed to kill them if improperly disconnected. We need time to figure this out." But time was exactly what they didn't have. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. "We've been detected," Diaz warned, checking her tactical display. "Defense systems activating." "Download everything you can," Reed ordered Ellis. "We're leaving in 5 minutes with or without the complete data." As Ellis worked frantically to extract information from the Council systems, Reed and Diaz prepared defenses against the security protocols activating around them. "Look at this," Ellis called out suddenly. "It's not just Earth. There are dozens of worlds under containment protocols. Species being studied, controlled, harvested, some for thousands of years." Reed felt a chill. The Council's manipulation was far more extensive than they had imagined. "Got everything I can," Ellis announced, disconnecting her devices as the facility's lights flickered, including location data for other Council installations in our system. They fought their way back to their ship, barely escaping as the facility's self-destruct sequence engaged. As they broke through Mars' thin atmosphere, Reed watched the massive explosion that obliterated the canyon outpost. "We lost the physical evidence," he said grimly. "But we gained something more valuable," Ellis replied, holding up the data storage device. "The truth about the Council's entire operation in our system, and beyond." Back on Earth, Terran Truth analyzed the new information. The revelations were staggering. Humans had been used as soldiers in Council wars against other species. Millions had been taken over centuries, their memories altered, their bodies enhanced, and their natural combat abilities exploited. The Council feared humanity's potential yet coveted their unique abilities. According to these records, human fighters are considered the most effective shock troops in the galaxy, Dias reported during the emergency meeting. Our adaptability, aggression, and problem-solving under pressure make us ideal for combat. So they keep Earth isolated and primitive, while stealing our people to fight their wars, Marcus said, his face flushed with anger. Not just wars, Ellis added. They use us for labor, experimentation, entertainment, while keeping our civilization technologically stunted so we can never challenge them. Reed studied the galactic map they had extracted. With this information, we can identify Council weaknesses, their major installations, supply routes, communication hubs. Are you suggesting we attack the Council directly? Tucker asked. With what? Our technology is centuries behind theirs. Reed smiled for the first time in weeks. Is it? According to these files, the Council has been desperately suppressing multiple breakthrough technologies that were on the verge of discovery. Dr. Ellis, show them what you found. Ellis displayed schematics for advanced propulsion systems, energy weapons, and defensive shields, all developed by human scientists over the past century, all mysteriously abandoned or forgotten after Council intervention. We have the designs, Reed said. All we need are scientists free from Council influence to build them. While publicly we maintain the appearance of diplomatic relations, Marcus added, let the Council think their agent Trell had an accident, and we're still in the dark. Reed nodded. We prepare in secret. We build our strength. And when we're ready, we take the fight to them. Dias finished, a dangerous gleam in her eyes. The leaders of Terran Truth placed their hands on the table in a gesture of unity and determination. Humanity's long-suppressed rage was building toward an explosion that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. 6 months had passed since the Mars mission. 6 months of secret preparations, hidden manufacturing, and careful planning. Earth outwardly maintained normal relations with the handful of alien species they had officially contacted, all Council puppets, they now knew. Commander Reed stood in the massive underground hangar, watching engineers apply the final touches to the Vengeance, Earth's first true warship. Built using the suppressed technologies they had discovered, it was unlike anything humanity had created before. Beautiful, isn't she? Admiral Marcus said, joining Reed on the observation platform. And there are 5 more just like her, hidden around the planet. Reed replied with pride. How soon can they be ready? 2 days. The weapons systems are being calibrated now. Reed nodded. Good, because we just received word from our spies. The Council is gathering for their quarterly meeting at Proxima Station. All the major species will be represented. It's time then, Marcus said, his face solemn. Yes, time to bring our evidence before the full Council, where not even the Grand Arbiter can silence us. The plan was daring, perhaps foolhardy. Reed would lead a diplomatic mission to Proxima Centauri, where the Council maintained a massive space station for interspecies gatherings. They would request a formal hearing to discuss concerns about galactic protocols and humanity's place in the wider community. Meanwhile, Earth's new warships would position themselves nearby, cloaked with technology the Council believed humans didn't possess. If diplomacy failed, they would be ready for the alternative. 2 days later, Reed stood on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel Aurora as it approached Proxima Station. With him were Dr. Ellis, Professor Tucker, and a small team of trusted diplomats and security personnel, all members of Terran Truth. The station was a marvel of engineering, a massive ring structure orbiting Proxima Centauri, with spires and docking ports extending in all directions. Ships of various designs moved in coordinated patterns around it. We're being hailed, reported the communications officer. On screen, Reed ordered. The view screen showed a being with purple-tinged skin and large, compound eyes. Approaching Earth vessel, this is Proxima Control. State your business. This is Commander Alexander Reed, representing Earth's diplomatic corps. We request permission to dock and petition the Council for a formal hearing. There was a pause before the controller responded. Earth has not scheduled any official Council appearance. Your request is irregular. It concerns matters of the highest importance, Reed insisted. We have evidence of protocol violations that affect multiple species. Another pause, longer this time. Stand by. The screen went blank. Reed exchanged looks with Ellis. They're consulting with higher authorities, she guessed. Minutes later, the controller returned. Permission granted for docking at Bay 17. The liaison will meet your delegation. Maximum of 5 representatives permitted to disembark. Acknowledged. Aurora out. As they approached the docking bay, Tucker whispered, "They're scanning us with technologies far beyond what they've admitted to possessing." Reed wasn't surprised. Remember your training. Think only about the official mission. This was a precaution against potential telepathic species among the Council, something they had discovered in the Mars facility data. When they docked and the airlock opened, they were met by a tall, slender being with silvery skin, the same species as Trell. "I am Blazin Varick," the alien announced. "The Council is surprised by your request." "I'm sure they are," Reed replied evenly. "When can we address them?" "The Grand Arbiter has granted you a preliminary hearing. Follow me." As they walked through the station's corridors, Reed was struck by the diversity of beings they passed. Some were humanoid, others utterly alien. Floating gas clouds contained in mechanical shells, insectoid creatures with multiple limbs, beings that seemed to shift and change as they moved. All of these species, Reed thought, potentially manipulated and controlled by the Council just as humans had been. The Council chamber was a vast, circular room with seating arranged in tiered rings. At the center was a raised platform, where speakers could address the gathered representatives. Above it all, on a special elevated dais, sat the Grand Arbiter, a being whose species was impossible to determine, covered as it was in ornate robes, and a mask inlaid with glowing crystals. "Approach, humans." The Grand Arbiter's voice resonated through the chamber, translated perfectly into English. "State your purpose." Reed stepped onto the speaking platform, feeling the eyes of hundreds of alien representatives upon him. "Honorable Grand Arbiter, esteemed Council members," he began, "we come before you with grave concerns about the treatment of Earth, and we suspect many other worlds under Council oversight." A murmur spread through the chamber. "Specifically," Reed continued, "we have discovered evidence of unauthorized intervention in Earth's development, suppression of our technological advancement, and the abduction of our people for various purposes, including military service, in conflicts we have no knowledge of." The Grand Arbiter's mask revealed nothing, but their voice carried a note of warning. "These are serious accusations, Commander Reed. Do you have evidence to support them?" "We do," Reed replied. He nodded to Ellis, who stepped forward with their data device. "This contains communications intercepted from Council facilities, including one on Mars which was recently destroyed in an unfortunate accident." Another murmur, louder this time. "We will need to verify this information before proceeding," the Grand Arbiter stated. "Hand over your device." Ellis hesitated, then placed the device on a small platform that extended from the floor. It was immediately encased in a transparent field and lifted toward the Grand Arbiter. The chamber fell silent as the Grand Arbiter examined the data. Minutes passed. Reed could feel tension building in the room. Finally, the Grand Arbiter spoke. "These files appear to be corrupted or fabricated. They contain no actionable evidence." Reed had expected this. "We anticipated authentication concerns, which is why we brought multiple copies and verification protocols." He nodded to Tucker, who activated a secondary device. Immediately, holographic displays appeared around the chamber, showing key documents, video recordings from the Mars facility, and genetic analysis of captured Council technology. "As you can see," Reed continued, "the evidence is quite real. And based on the reactions of some council members, I believe many of you were unaware of these actions. It was true. Several representatives were leaning forward, clearly shocked. Others were in animated discussions with their aides. One representative, a being with blue-tinted scales and elongated limbs, stood. I request verification of these claims. If what the humans say is true, the High Command has violated our own most sacred laws regarding emerging species. Others joined in, some supporting investigation, others calling the evidence fraudulent. The Grand Arbiter raised a hand for silence. This matter requires careful consideration. The human delegation will be escorted to guest quarters while we discuss. No, Reed interrupted firmly. We've seen what happens when the Council takes evidence for consideration. We stay, and this discussion happens now in the open. The Grand Arbiter's voice turned cold. You are not in a position to make demands, Commander. Suddenly, alarm signals blared throughout the chamber. The massive doors sealed shut. Security breach detected, announced an automated voice. Emergency protocols engage. Reed tensed. This wasn't part of the plan. What an unfortunate development, the Grand Arbiter said, rising from their seat. It appears human agents have attempted to infiltrate secure systems. This confirms your hostile intent. Armored security forces began flooding into the chamber through hidden entrances. This is a setup, Ellis whispered. They're going to silence us and claim we were terrorists. Reed tapped his communication device, sending a prearranged signal. Then it's a good thing we came prepared. Throughout the station, Council communications suddenly went dead as jamming signals activated, planted by stealth drones Ellis had released during their walk to the chamber. What you fail to understand, Grand Arbiter, Reed announced loudly enough for all to hear, is that humanity doesn't stand alone anymore. The chamber's ceiling display, which had shown a peaceful starfield, flickered and changed to show real-time images of Earth's cloaked warships decloaking around the station. Now, Reed said firmly, I suggest we continue our discussion about Council violations, with all representatives present and no further interruptions. The Grand Arbiter slowly sat back down as chaos erupted in the Council chamber. The confrontation that would change the galaxy had begun. Silence fell over the Council chamber as the images of Earth's warships dominated the display. The security forces that had been advancing on Reed's team froze in place, awaiting orders. This is impossible, the Grand Arbiter finally said, voice no longer calm and controlled. Human technology cannot produce vessels of that capability. Another lie you told yourselves, Reed replied, standing tall on the speaking platform. You've underestimated humanity for too long. While your agents suppressed our public technologies, we developed in secret. All around the chamber, Council representatives were in various states of shock or anger. Some demanded explanations from their own leadership. Others called for immediate military response. Reed raised his hand for attention. We didn't come here for war. We came for truth and justice. I speak now not just for Earth, but for all worlds the Council has manipulated and exploited. He turned to address the gathered representatives directly. How many of your worlds have had their progress artificially limited? How many of your people have disappeared to serve as soldiers or test subjects? The records we found suggest Earth is just one of dozens of contained worlds. The blue-scaled representative who had spoken earlier stood again. The delegation from Teller demands to see all evidence immediately, without Council filtering. Others joined in, their voices growing louder. The Grand Arbiter tried to restore order, but the carefully maintained control was slipping away. Dr. Ellis stepped forward, activating a more detailed display. These are the containment protocols for 27 worlds, including Teller, Vosh, and Naren. Each shows systematic suppression of technology and selective harvesting of populations. The chamber erupted in outrage. The representatives from the named worlds crowded forward, demanding to see the files concerning their people. The Grand Arbiter's voice boomed over the chaos. This is treacherous human manipulation. They seek to divide us with falsified. The data signatures are authentic, interrupted a small, gray-skinned being with multiple eyes. "I am the chief archivist. These protocols match our restricted archives." The Grand Arbiter rose, pointing at the archivist. "You overstep your authority." "And you have overstepped yours for centuries," came a new voice. Admiral Marcus strode into the chamber, flanked by a security team from the Vengeance. "Your enforcers tried to prevent our additional delegates from entering. They failed." The Council's security forces moved to intercept, but stopped when Marcus's team raised advanced weapons, technology the Council had thought safely suppressed. "Listen to me, all of you," Reed called out. "Earth declares itself free from Council oversight as of this moment. But we want more than just our freedom. We want justice for all peoples the Council has manipulated." The Grand Arbiter's mask finally came off, revealing a face with features similar to Trell's but older, lined with age. "You have no idea what you're doing. The protocols exist for stability. Some species advance too quickly, develop technologies they cannot morally handle. We maintain balance. You maintain control," Reed countered. "And you've decided you alone have the wisdom to determine which species deserves to advance and which doesn't. That ends today." Ellis activated the final part of their presentation, the records of human abductions, experimentation, and forced military service. The images were graphic and disturbing. Many Council representatives turned away. "Millions of my people," Reed said quietly but forcefully, "taken to fight your wars, to die on worlds they never knew existed, while you kept Earth ignorant and isolated, believing we were alone in the universe." The blue-scaled representative approached Reed. "I am Ambassador Vex of Taylor. Our records show similar patterns. We believed our missing people were lost to natural disasters arranged by our own government. If what you show is true—" "It is," confirmed the chief archivist. "The High Command has maintained these programs for over 3,000 years. Only the inner circle of the Council has full knowledge." The Grand Arbiter slammed a fist down. "Enough. This discussion is over. Defense systems, engage." Nothing happened. Tucker smiled from where he stood beside a control panel. "We took the liberty of reconfiguring your automated systems. They no longer recognize your authority." The chamber doors opened, and more representatives from Earth's allied ships entered, not just humans, but others they had secretly contacted over the past months. Species who had their own suspicions about Council manipulation. "You see, Grand Arbiter," Reed explained, "while you thought we were just building ships, we were building alliances. Every species whose records appeared in the Mars facility has been contacted. Many were skeptical at first, but the evidence convinced them." Marcus stepped forward. "Earth proposes a new beginning. Not human domination, but true cooperation. All species advancing according to their own abilities and choices, not the Council's arbitrary decisions." The next hours were chaotic but productive. The Council fractured as the truth spread. Some members of the High Command attempted to flee but were detained by forces loyal to the reformers. Others confessed, hoping for leniency. 3 days later, Reed stood with Marcus and Ellis on the observation deck of the Vengeance, watching as representatives from 23 formerly suppressed worlds signed the new Galactic Charter. "The Free Worlds Alliance," Ellis said, reading the glowing title on the document display. "Has a nice ring to it. How many worlds are still unaware of what's happened?" Reed asked. "At least 40, Marcus replied. "Council records show systems we've never even heard of, still under heavy containment. It will take years to contact them all, to undo the damage." Reed nodded. "And will face resistance. The Council had enforcers and agents throughout the galaxy. They won't just disappear overnight." "No," agreed Marcus, "which is why Earth will need to remain vigilant. Our fleet is the most advanced among the freed worlds. We'll need to protect the Alliance while others catch up." Ellis looked concerned. "Some might say that makes us no better than the Council, the most powerful species taking responsibility for others." Reed shook his head. "The difference is choice. We offer protection and cooperation, not control. Any world can refuse our help. Any species can chart their own path." As they spoke, a small craft approached the Vengeance. It carried Ambassador Vex and representatives from 5 other worlds. "The first joint expedition is ready," Vex announced when they arrived on the deck. A multi-species crew, exploring together. No secrets, no suppression. Reed smiled. "Where are they headed?" "A star system at the edge of what was Council space. Records suggest an emerging civilization there, one the Council had marked for early intervention. Instead, they'll receive honest first contact," Marcus said, "with full knowledge of what awaits them among the stars, both the wonders and the dangers." Reed moved to the viewport, looking out at the stars that now represented not just mystery, but possibility. Humanity had broken free of its chains, and in doing so, had helped free countless others. The rage that had fueled them, the righteous anger at centuries of manipulation, had transformed into something more powerful. Determination to build a better galaxy than the one the Council had created. "It won't be easy," Reed said quietly. "Freedom never is." Ellis joined him at the viewport. "But it will be ours. Our choices, our mistakes, our achievements." As the first joint expedition ship departed, its lights twinkling against the darkness of space, Reed felt a sense of pride unlike anything he had experienced before. Humanity had not just survived the Council's lies, they had exposed them, fought them, and replaced them with truth. And in the vastness of the galaxy, that truth would now spread like wildfire, unstoppable and transformative. The stars awaited, and for the first time in centuries, humanity, and many other species, would meet them on their own terms,